So this is media evaluation question 1. In what ways does my media product use, challenge, or develop conventions of other media products? So firstly, the titles. This is High Fidelity's title, and they use the fairly simple high fidelity written over a spinning record, which is the theme of the film. And Bing and Malkovich used the same thing pretty much, but with curtains, and so they're both sort of addressing the theme within the title. So we did a similar thing. We have pavement, quite simply written, top, a shot of some smoke. So this is sort of a symbol of, the character's habits in the film and how his life has sort of fallen apart. He's smoking. The shot was a nightmare to do actually, because lighting the smoke was extremely difficult. So here we have the Royal Tenenbaums opening, and we see a wide shot, establishing shot of a New York neighborhood in this building here, the Tenenbaum house, where most of the film is set. So we've immediately established the location with some shots. So we did a similar thing as well, following the convention, by opening with some shots around London. Here we have from Vauxhall Bridge and below the bridge. And here we're establishing his street, his neighborhood, his area, which is Soho. So here is the building. So this is, we're following the convention of establishing a location like that. And here we have a similar thing, a tilting shot of the house he lives in. So this is the opening to Clerks, and they began with an awakening. So we followed this convention as well. I think it's very useful cinematic technique to create empathy, to attach the audience to a character. If you wake up with them, you're starting in this, because you're just starting the film. You're starting in the same place they are. And they've also used we used a similar title to them, just plain black with American typewriter font over it. So this is the opening where he's called into work, and this is where it all kicks off. Clerks is another film that used black and white, like we did, which we think is because they were on a very low budget, and because obviously we had no budget. We thought black and white will hide anything that looks unrealistic in our set. So.
Be there by 12? Where?
So in a second there's going to be ours.
12 or I walk.
Dark, changing nothing.
Not just the lying on your bed.
Here we go, so this is our awakening scene.
Flashlight and spat on my face.
And the walking through your favourite city.
So it's slightly similar, but it basically we're following the convention of an awakening to open the film. And there's our title that we already talked about. So here are the titles of Napoleon Dynamite. These aren't the main titles; these are the credit titles. So they incorporated them onto plates of food, a sort of montage, which we and this is we think very quirky convention of a typical quirky film. So we did this in a similar way. We incorporated them into the diegesis, but not just with food. I thought of objects that had text on them, and just replaced the text. We think that's really developing as well, because we've slightly altered the whole idea. And it's also in a montage with music.
Do you expect?
What is the feeling that I will never mean enough to anyone to warrant?
So here
Do you remember the
we
first
have
time?
this is the layering of voices, which we think is definitely unconventional. We're challenging the convention. We are it's very abstract the way we've set this out, with the voices laying on top of each other, and we think it does convey strongly a mood, but it's something you don't really see too much. So we hope this would attract our audience
And the walking through your favourite city in the dark.
as it's challenging the conventions. And another thing we use to conventions is of not just the genre modern cinemas. We use black and white for a number of reasons, mainly for effect and mood, and also this grainy quality we have. I guess Jim Jarmusch makes his films like Down by Law in a similar way, making them look older and more rough than they needed to be. But we thought it really does help create a mood, and so we thought we'd challenge the convention in this way. So there's a lot of grain there. It's very sort of depressing.